And of course, we need to have somewhat like a mechanism or a flow for us to develop the micro-credential course until the delivery. And to understand further on the process, I believe we need to look into more of the differences that we can see coming from this courses. Yeah. So let's look into the next slide. Okay. So this webinar is going to tackle and try to iron out all those confusions out there, whereby if we probably have something that we term as having offered a short course, can it be justified as a micro-credentials? And you may have already come across a lot of different courses out there, maybe 1 day or 2 day training. You can say you are going to be eligible to get some certificates, and that is just stopping there. So when it's just stopping there, it simply means that will it be recognized? That is actually the big question. Will it be recognized by a higher learning institution? Say, for example, if I were to take this course, a short course, and it says that it is going to be certified by someone or maybe some organization, will it be actually possible for us to embed or maybe to allow us for credit transfer in order for us to get qualified into a degree program, for example? So this is something that leads to the question whether or not a short course is legitimately called as a micro-credential. This has come to be read together with MQA guidelines, Malaysian Qualification Agency guidelines. So to date, we have several guidelines for us to look into. The first one is on the micro-credentials itself. The second one will be good practices on the micro-credentials. And the latest one, in addition, would be the Quality Verification Center on the standalone micro-credentials. So the thing is that when we have learned to understand one concept on the delivery of the micro-credentials, we are going to be bogged down by a lot of other maybe guidelines coming from MQA, but it is our responsibility to actually align what is required by the framework, what is required by the agency, and then how best possible that we can ensure or guarantee that our programs or maybe our courses be able to fulfill all the requirements, because this is not something new. This is something for us to move forward with. So when you see this, okay, what you're going to be able to do after attending this webinar, you should be able to differentiate between what is offered as a micro-credential and that of just an ordinary webinar. So say, for example, it's very important that you are attending this particular webinar, and really coming from the email, you saw there's a statement saying that you're going to be eligible to have a 1 CPD point because of the 1 hour being allocated for this webinar. So coming from there, just by watching me talking here, I'm yet to test your understanding. This is not regarded as a micro-credential. Perhaps we are going to give you one sort of a certificate of attendance at the end of the day. But when it comes to, is it going to be eligible for credit transfer? Is it going to be able to be known as credentials, something which is qualifying you for certain entry to a program or whatnot? So that is actually the big question. I'm here to actually iron out as well some of the confusion. Micro-credential is just an ordinary course, and top that with certain forms of badges or a digital certification or something that is recognized. So when we actually add the learning value to it, so this is where it's going to be accounted for the credit transfer eligibility. And often we also have this misconception saying that micro-credentials must be delivered online. So that is actually not the real case. Micro-credentials can be offered in many ways. It can be like this, online session fully, or maybe blended. You're going to attend this particular webinar and later on you're going to have to attend another workshop by KFL for another series of understanding micro-credentials, for example. But that setting will be a combination online webinar plus the one that's going to be held physically in the classroom. That is blended mode. And we also have face-to-face delivery for micro-credential. And that is actually why it leads to the confusion of having a physical class, a short course, and that is maybe not as attractive as an online micro-credential. That is actually the real truth about what micro-credential delivery is. So we're going to talk about the classification. So there are 3 models for now coming from MQA. And then I'm going to talk more on the SAMC. So to those who are uninitiated, SAMC stands for Standalone, okay, Micro-Credential. How is it going to be different from what we are doing now? And that how's going to be different maybe in the near future? Is it going to be recognized still? Yes, but it may be taking a different form of recognition. It needs to be validated as usual, but we need some extra steps in order for us to ensure the quality of the micro-credential courses that we're offering. So that is what basically I'm going to cover. Now, demystifying part would be to look into the what is it likely a micro-credential is. One thing for sure, it is not going to be very far different from your conventional course. When you first step into the classroom, when you have your lectures, you are in control of delivering your lecture in a way that it is going to be controlled as behind the 4 walls. So that is face to face, and that is part of the program, full-fledged program. So when we say it's full-fledged program, we're simply saying that this is taken apart coming from the maybe 120 credit hour program. So it's just 3 credit hours because you're just teaching one course. And you have to go to the classroom, go for class for 14 weeks in one semester. That is just a small portion. So if I were to illustrate later, I'm just going to show you how it looks like. This is tied, somehow tied to what we call as the course learning outcome. Meaning to say, what you design for the micro-credential, the course, again, micro-credential is nothing new. When a course is tagged with such recognition of learning that happened, that is what we call as micro-credential, to put in a layman term. Because if I were to go by the definition, then it's going to confuse you more. So from here, your course, ordinary course, if you deliver it on open learning, for example, okay, UNITA has been doing that way, deliver it online fully without you actually looking into them, teaching the students or meeting them, that is a course delivered online. But the part or the aspect which is going to be meaningful is when you add the digital badge or the digital certificate. That is in terms of recognizing what the learners have already learned. So that is one part of the course that has been taken. That is micro-credential. If not with the digital badges as well as a digital cert, it will just be recognized as another short course delivered online. So that is something worth noting. And what matters here, sometimes when it comes to short course, you just attend the short course. Okay, this is for participation, a record. So you have an attendance to be filled in. So certificate of attendance, certificate of participation, that is what you see. But when it is actually just, when we want to term the micro-credential itself, that course must adhere to have credible assessment aligning to your course outcome. That is actually the one we recognize. And that sort of recognition will be added to the course. And that is actually the term you are awarding the credentials to the course. Hence, the word credentials. And then there are many models, okay? And this is what we are always looking into. Okay, blindly maybe, or maybe often we are going to miss this. If you can see, even the PXD has already gotten us into a program, the PXD Learn on open learning. Okay, remember those anti-bribery course that you need to complete, and there's also occupational safety and health course. There were two, and additionally, you have another one to complete early this year. 3 courses park under open learning. And every time that you've already completed that course, you are going to be awarded this one single digital badge. Do you recognize that? Okay, we recognize that as a medium to say you have already completed it successfully. So you are accumulating the badges. So this is also the idea of having micro credentials. Okay, so I'm going to go skip from this for a while because I want to share with you something on what we term as okay, it's often referring to the guideline. Okay, so I've already put that in the chat. So I'm going to show you what is it actually all about. And coming from there, okay. So this is coming from the Unit 10 guidelines on micro-credential. Okay, so we look into this. You can see that there is a difference when we approach the matter with coffee. Okay, Ramadan, so we don't bring coffee along. So this is a very, very heavy topic. So bear with me, but just light and easy. So this is what you're seeing. This is your full-fledged program. And figure 1 shows you that is just a chunk of the program. So the program will have many, many courses. And from there, you're going to see each course will be taken out on its own and then be delivered as a topic of your choice and later on be segregated into a smaller part, which is called modules. So that is the idea of micro-credentials. Or maybe you don't want to put a micro-credential just yet. The course has been put into smaller chunks. And that is actually what we're talking about when we explore micro-credentials. In fact, we already have the term nano-credentials. And who knows, in the next 10 years, we're going to have pico-learning. So this is just a small bit coming from the topic. So this is also an area where we should discuss so that there is a danger or a risk. The challenge would be to design the course such that it doesn't lose the integrity when you are delivering it full-fledged. Remember, you are delivering your 3-credit hour course lecture, face-to-face, for example, for the whole 14 weeks. Okay. Now, step back and think about this. You have the same course. You are breaking it down into 3 equally distributed weeks. Meaning to say, if it be 14 weeks, you are going to divide it by 3 because 3-credit hour course. And you decide that I want to have a micro-credential course based on this. Meaning to say, you are having 4.2 weeks of coverage of your lecture to be converted to the micro-credential course. And that is equivalent to 1 credit hour. So when I'm saying that, how do we measure the course itself? If you have already been engaged by PXD, the promotion will involve the teaching track will involve the development of micro-credential course worth 1 credit hour and multiples of that. So when I say 1 credit hour, it is the 40 notional student learning time, right, SLT, that we are supposed to design and also align to the course learning outcome. So this is very, very essential, very critical, whereby students will be measured. There is an assessment for them, and it must be reflected in the teaching. If it be online, there goes the challenge because you're not going to meet them online. So it must be accompanied by a very well-designed, structured, and systematic, what we call as instructional design, because you're going to leave the learners alone, independently, pacing through your micro-credential course. That is actually what it takes to understand what micro-credential is. And now I'm zooming in. If this were to be the case, this is what we call as an unbundled program. There are three types. Okay, so you are going to see for unbundled programs, these are coming from our Unit 10 accredited programs from the MQA. So take, for example, okay, if I were to take engineering, there's not gonna be recognized because it falls under the professional body. Let's take something light. Okay, say for example, computing. Okay, computer science subject, Bachelor of Computer Science. So say for example, you have one statistics for beginners, or maybe introduction to statistics. That is going to be designed for a 1 credit hour course. So that is taking from the big one. So that is unbundled. And because of the industry demand, such that upon completion of the degree, for example, you still have some skills or competency that needs to be addressed. And that shows you need to go by a standalone micro-credential. It's not here at the moment. We're going to revise the guideline. Standalone micro-credential course, in contrary, will be filling in the gap. What is not in here, the original program, say for example, computing standards, they are very fast changing standards. So the curriculum in the 5 years, you can't wait for the curriculum review in order for you to put in all the new things into the program, because it's so advancing fast. And because of that, you might want to come out with a standalone micro-credential. What is this again? A standalone micro-credential is something outside of the accredited program, whereby you design it according to the industry demand or needs. So this one is more convenient for you to design and also meets whatever standards that are coming from them. So this is in particular independent certification. So it's just a chunk, but if you are aware how things are like, it can be combined in order for us to get a certification program, or it can be designed as a pathway. So I'm going to talk more on that with some examples on the projects that we have at Unit 10. Okay, so should you have any questions, leave it on the chat so that I'm going to see, let's say after 1 minute, and then I'll see to it. Okay, right? I've already mentioned that the delivery methods is not only going to be constrained to online, but we can actually do it face-to-face and also blended. How are we going to exactly do this? Okay, so I show you example here, the different delivery modes. Again, treat it as a short course, but when you put in values to it, so that is being recognized according to the learning outcomes, that is going to be credit-bearing course. Hence, it's going to be known as a micro-credentials, where your course will be recognized with a form of digital cert or a digital badge. How can you deliver this? Would be, I'm taking 3 types here, yeah? So if you go by fully online, you use lecture videos, or maybe you use some interactive infographics, meaning many other things that you can do. So say for example, micro-credential number 1 is introduction to data science. So you only set up the videos for them to watch. But again, the danger would be to ensure that learning has happened, because online is not that easy in terms of delivery. You can always provide, the assessment is different. So you have quizzes, you have hands-on programming, assignment. But the thing is that once you have a computer, it's actually connected to maybe you have that programming, or maybe certain softwares that is available for the students to take. Do not use something which is subscribed license kind of software, because the potential learners might have difficulty in subscribing. So just use something which is free or maybe can be accessed by the general public. So this is part of it. You can do this easily online. Another type will be face-to-face. Okay, so this one is more on, say, for example, basic laboratory in chemistry. So students needs to go to the lab and you're just going to spend there, like just now, 1 credit hour course means that you have to cover like 4 weeks. So meaning to say, if you have 4 consecutive lab sessions, that can be essential to be converted to face-to-face lab experiments. So this is practical demonstration we're talking about. The other type would be a mixture between online and that of the face-to-face delivery. So you can see fundamentals of computer networking. We can use lecture videos and then ask them to come back to the lab and then do some practical experiments or maybe activities, but then you can just assess them using some online quizzes or maybe some assignments. Those are the definite 3 ways for you to deliver your micro-credential course. Do not feel constrained with the delivery type. Yes, at Uni 10, the current model we're using is that micro-credential under CAFEL will be hosted at Open Learning, right? So it's going to be fully online. But we are moving away from online. We are going to diversify the type of or the delivery modes. We may want to coordinate, okay, the delivery of the course with Uni 10 Ventures as short courses. But at the end of the day, say for example, when someone goes for a training, 5-day training, and then at the end of the day, on a Friday afternoon, you're going to be having an assessment, and that assessment counts into your awarding of the micro certificate, the certification that comes in, because you need not to see only attendance, you need to participate, and you need to be assessed on your knowledge, added learning values. So that is supposed to be the micro credential part that I'm trying to demystify. Okay, right. So is there any questions? So please feel free to raise your hand or buzz me. Okay, unmute your uh, microphone. So I'm happy to get you clarified. Okay, so these are the criterias, but I'm not going into this. But I have something to show you, but I'm not very sure how to go about it, but it's nice to see. Okay, so remember when I say about the stacking, yeah? Okay, so I'm a fan of Lego. Can you see this? Yeah? So this is actually an imagination of having your full-fledged program, the degree. For example, so this is a Bachelor of Computer Science. They are nice. Why is it nice? They are in color coding. I mean, you can see layers here, right? Red for final year program. I mean, the courses, final year. This one, yellow, is designed that way. And green, that is actually the first year. Okay? Can you see that? It is perfectly designed and structured. That is what the full-fledged accredited program from Uni 10. So take this for example, it is like this, meaning to say you have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to actually complete the whole degree. Okay, now the future of learning is governed by flexible options. Students nowadays, SPM leavers, they may come to universities or they may not come to universities at all. So this is where the encouragement coming from bite-sized learning will be very beneficial for them. So say for example, okay, I have this one Lego piece, yeah. So coming from there, what do you see? I'm going to go here. It's just one piece. So if it to be just one piece, that means this is a micro credential of purple. So meaning maybe it comes from one company, Coursera, for example, because there are many training providers there. Okay, and then after 1 month, I'm going to just say I have some money to invest. Okay, so I'm going to have about the same size. Okay, remember, keeping the same size. Please remember that. This is micro credential. So remember, this is the standard size of the bite-sized learning. But this one is yellow. Maybe this one comes from another provider. So say, for example, I took it from UPM, micro-credential, for example, yeah? Okay, so over the months, I've already gotten 2. But these are separate. When they are separate, each will have a different batch. So I'm going to collect. All right? Okay. Now, I also have something which is smaller. This is nice. A small one. Just now it was full flash, yeah? Okay. This one is small bit. It is still recognized as a learning course. I mean, you learn something from this course, but the size here determines the credit hour that you took. That is actually the motivation of using the breaks. Okay, so coming from there, I've already collected 3. And now, okay, because I want to do it fast. Okay, so that's it until mid-year. Okay, something on women's empowerment. Okay, this pink. So here we are. We have a few, yeah? That is the thing. Each will be having its own certificate. And they are varied. This is empowerment. This is leadership, maybe. This is engineering. And that one small piece, maybe cooking. What am I going to do with this? These are all the things I've already collected over the first half of the year, 2026. What do I do about it? These are micro-credentials, but I don't know where to put it. Okay? Is it okay? Right? So now I say I'm going to Unit 10 and I have this. Okay, that's not a good example anyway, but that is allowed. And we call that personalized learning. Okay, it's a la carte mode. I fancy playing guitar. I love to do coding. I want to do hairstyling. I want to do something gardening. Okay, it's very, very different. But if you have all this, you can always try to go to any universities and then stack them together. So what I'm going to do here, you notice that I'm going to go to the university. Oh yeah, you forgot about this. Ta-da! Can you see that? Something weird there? I'm not trying to sell things here, but you see something which is a bit out here. This is the one which is half of the credit hour, remember? Will there be an issue? They might be, because when we want to do some credit transfer later, when we want to enter a full-fledged program, okay, we do credit transfer from the, remember it's recognized. I can go to anywhere to do credit transfer as long as the university or the higher learning institution recognize the micro-credentials, hence the digital badge, yeah? So coming from there, it is advisable for me to take another bit, okay, so that it becomes complete. You see that? And say, for example, Unit 10 is very, very much, okay, recognizing that particular credit transfer will be happening. So you have all. And then you can always transfer to replace whatever matching course in the program. So that is the wonderful thing about micro-credentials. That is another level that I'm telling you, right? But you can see that there is a major difference, yeah? This is a person. Oh, I have to put the person there, okay? This is micro-credential path. This is someone who gets into the full-fledged degree. Computer science, colors will be how long the student will be in the system, yeah? But this one, compared to this person, he or she is just having his own free time to check on some different courses and then try to put them together. This one, full-fledged and is structured. This one having an unstructured way of learning. But at the end of the day, they're going to get some credentials. So what I'm trying to say here is that we are moving into that sense. Okay, so let me check on, actually there are many, many slides here anyway. Okay, there. Can you see this? This is a wonderful thing after what you saw just now, yeah? Okay, it's supposed to show, ouch, a slideshow. Is it not? Ah, It's a different screen. Okay, let me show you again. Let's choose the window where it's showing this. Ta-da! Okay, so what you're seeing here, you are seeing something that has been done before. This is obviously what the first look of the stackable degree is like. You are free to do anything you want. Collect every single thing, every single bricks, and later on you're going to, not in particular order. That's the best thing. The thing is that you can go by course 1 first, and then until then you say, I'm interested in course 10, and then I don't go by order. Maybe course 4, and then later on you're going to group them together, and later on you're going to stack it this way. We are moving into this, and I can share with you, Unit 10 is also interested to do this, stacking the credentials, meaning to say out from the unbundled programs, the courses are going to take shape later on and be meaningful, although they are not actually in order, but sooner or later, you know they're going to be one good program. Okay, we are trying to just putting them all in smaller chunks. And coming from there, the unbundled learning you're seeing is actually now becoming stacking credentials. Just to share with you, we have pilot universities, but all of them are public universities. They are venturing into offering such. To start with micro-credential courses, the small ones, the small break, and then they are going to offer more and pack them as a degree. So that is something which is going to be quite a journey because you know that you have to design a full-fledged program, but that's not the case. Sometimes if it's not a full program, you can always have somewhat like what we call as a certification program or maybe a professional certificate program. We can design it that way. So this is offering more flexibility to our potential learners. So I always say potential learners because these are still outside of the system. If I were to compare, this particular guy here will always be outside of our Unit 10 system. If compared to the student who has already enrolled into our degree, he or she is already in our system. In order for this guy with the micro-credential certificate to enter the Unit 10 system, he or she needs to be credit transferred to our program. So that is the major difference between these two. All right. So I'm taking it a level higher for you to understand. But no worries. Okay. As you go along, I would like to check with you on this. Okay. Remember, I'm going to talk about Unit 10 most of the time. So previously, I think recently, we had this Uni-Ready program. As such, the direction of the university is to offer as much opportunities for the learners, okay, especially the SPM leavers. The results will be out in 31st of March. Through the Uni Ready here, okay, KFL has already worked on the package, yeah. So when we look into this, so basically, you are seeing that the previous program, it was a 2-day program for the 250 school leavers. Sorry, waiting for the program, waiting for the SPM. And these were created or designed for them to have one step ahead of the rest of the peers there into our program. It is designed such a way that, say, for example, you're seeing 3 of these, okay, to talk about this. The COE, College of Engineering, managed to offer just a one, I mean, it's like 90 minutes of session with the students to construct a simple electric circuit kit. And from there, they managed to complete or construct the kit, and we offer them digital badge or a certificate. From there, they have the options to go full-fledged. Remember, it must be taken as a one, or we can see it, a one complete 1 credit hour course. 1.5 hours is nothing compared to a 4.2 weeks of learning. Remember, it is tied to 1 credit hours and later on multiples of 0.5. But it's easier for us to design later on if you're inspired to design micro-credential course, design it in a way to have an idea is roughly about 4 weeks kind of materials and assessment. Okay, so this must be designed this way, not to be just half. If it be half, that means it's going to be nano credentials, maybe. So again, if it's too small of a chunk, okay, if it's too small, what I can say is that it's going to lose information. It's going to lose some meaning because it doesn't tie anymore to the big course learning outcome because you actually chunk it down into a smaller component. Now, let me explain more. The College of Computing and Informatics, I took some initiative to study, okay, what are the programs that currently CCI is offering. So I came to know that they have cybersecurity, introduction to cybersecurity course. And this is actually the pathway to go to all the Bachelor of Computer Science programs, regardless of cybersecurity or network engineering. So it is the same mutual cost. So when the students or when the SPM students came to Unit 10 for that 2 days, they actually have taken 1.5 hours of activity and they did this cyber forensic simulation. They got 1.5 hours, we award them a badge, and later on they are going to have to come to Unit 10 for maybe like 2 days course and then provide them with some assessment, and they are eligible to get a certification by having, okay, we can award them micro badges. So basically, this is what we have designed it to be. And coming from business school, we also have this. They design it in a way, they introduce the activity as build and break the business challenge. So meaning to say, I can understand from the concept is that they put in or they integrate accounting, maybe human resource, those are going to be there. But later on, after completing 1.5 hours activities, they go to the feeder courses here. Fundamentals of digital marketing, energy and society. So these are possible courses for them to get at least 1 credit hour. 1 foot is already here in the university. And later on, if they're seeking for credit transfer, it's no longer, it's not that complex anyway. They are eligible for credit transfer if they can complete the whole course at Unit 10. Meaning to say, we're trying to okay, we're trying to get them here with these particular badges, yeah? I mean, to make it more attractive and be more visible of what we have in terms of offering. Okay, so that is about our Uni-Ready pathway. But actually, what I'm more interested to tell you about would be what we are doing for the past, I think, 1.5 years. KFL under flexible learning experience, we have been doing this Lumina micro-credentials. There are altogether 29 courses, which is due to be delivered to sell at Open Learning end of March. Okay, so when we do have this, okay, you can see that, oh, there is very, very taxing. I can understand that. But these are the possible things we can do with micro-credentials. So it's very wonderful because maybe I'm going to have this. I want to just look into energy literacy. So I'm going to take the first course. Number 1, I want to take energy efficiency policies, for example. So that goes number 2. I design my own pathway. Can you see that? So meaning to say, it fits to the needs of many, many different audience or different targeted learners. So if you're involved in policy making, so you're going to take more policy related courses. So this is what I term as being a la carte package. You design your learning. And from there, we award you with badges. So interestingly, if I were to share with you, so this is a good example. Say for example here, okay. Actually, we are going to also award Okay, this is just something like physical badge. You collect one after completing one. Okay, these are eye care badges. Yeah. Then this one. So I've already gotten like 5 badges, for example, and I'm going to go to Unit 10. Hey, I have these 5 badges. What am I qualified into? Okay, I'm interested to do your degree. So can this be transferred? Because I've already done this. So this is physical badge. But interestingly, okay, so I'm showing you a lot of things today, isn't it? This is like show and tell kind of um, activity. But because if you see what the opportunities can be, yeah, this is very interesting. Okay. I think, am I sharing a window? Nobody stops me anyway. But let me check again, yeah. Rather than sharing a window, let me share the screen so that you can see what can be seen from here. Okay, because I don't want you to lose so much of information. Okay, now that I show you the badge, yeah, this looking like scouts. Okay, the younger generation, Gen Z especially, they love to collect all these tiny, tiny things. Okay, so when we look into each and every single opportunity that the students or the potential learners are going to collect, this is just what they love to flex. Flex is under kafel, yeah? So that's what we do every day, flexing. So from there, you can see this is coming. Remember, the credentials here, they are coming from different provider. So coming to say, they put it on LinkedIn, so you can always show the credential. So I've taken this from Future Learn, so all the details are there. So let's say that you want to show the credential. This is how it looks like. This is how the future companies or employers are going to be able to check on the students' competency. Remember, these are taken differently, yeah? Not full-fledged program, but more of I have all this and these are my skills and I'm flexing all these skills to you, my dear future employer. So this is where the thing is that micro-credentials will not offer transcript on its own, but this is what we call as the certificate that shows what has the student learned. So this one says how much contact time or learners will have gone through, who is actually the lecturer, who has awarded this, and these are the learning outcomes. Remember, it is meaningful. So meaning to say, micro-credentials must be designed in a way that you have the course learning outcome, yeah? And that is what is showing. The syllabus will be seen, and when has it been issued, and this is the proof of learning. So coming back to the question, the students nowadays love to collect all this. So coming to that, yeah, this is also one type of certificate. So Huawei Certified Academy Instructor. So this is one coming from the industry. So because of this, I'm going to show you um, the thing is that this is actually awarded by different organizations, different institutions, different providers. And because of that, the future learners are going to be a mix and match. Yes, you're going to wear a designer's clothes, but it's a mix and match. You get what I mean? Meaning to say, if you go outside there, you are flexing this, it's simply saying, I've got this, I've got that, and they are coming from, the different colors are showing that you have recognition coming from different providers. Now, good question would be at this point of time, if I go to Unit 10, I want to do computer science. I don't want to touch engineering, yeah? I want to do computer science. Okay, take back. The pink one is coming from Cisco. The yellow one is coming from where? UTM. Okay, there was one micro credential. The purple one is coming from a training academy. Recognize. Okay, and this one? Okay, sorry, this is violet. Sorry, this is purple. So the thing is that they are coming from everywhere. As long as they have that recognize, what was that again? Can you remember? Mm, If you have the cert, the certificate showing the proof of learning, we can actually see how much we can transfer to our program. That is what the thing is going to be in the future, near future. And of course, if I were to share with you, interestingly, this particular guy, perhaps I can compare, okay? In Malaysia, we are moving towards what we call as a credit bank. Perhaps you haven't heard about it, but if you have heard about credit banks, it simply means you are having somewhat like a database. That credit bank is actually this one, okay? So it's actually a place for you to flex all your micro-credential courses. And then a university like us, Uni10, will check on the MQA website. It's actually MQA developed a mechanism for standardizing this kind of licenses certification so that we can get to get to a place or to a point where it is validated, okay, so that we don't have any worries. And from there, you're going to see in Malaysia still, yeah, Unit 10 can actually see whether how much percentage similarity to our course. And then if it is more than 80%, then likelihood that you are eligible for credit transfer. Okay. And that is also one thing, initiative for Unit 10. We are moving, because we are the pilot university, to go for this accelerated industrial accredited program. It's a program that wants us, Unit 10, to work together with academies. When I say academies, we have one, ILSAS, who's only having certification programs, and they have partners as well. But they have a program which is like a certification program. How to make it more meaningful? So we're going to partner up with them. We still, I'm yet to do a meeting with them to find out the best way for us to get a recognized program between Uniten and ILSAS, for example. So industry comes in. So when industry comes in, you can see that this is very, very important. So that is the way forward when it comes to flexible learning. And then you understand that we had the blueprint being launched by the Prime Minister in January, if I'm not mistaken, or is it February? Yeah, I missed the class during that time. So January, it was on a Tuesday, I remember. So that simply says that the direction of our programs must be diversified, and we can always check on. There are multiple ways for the students to come in and also go out, and still the certifications are going to be recognized. That is very important. And to a certain extent, we were just visited by the British Higher Education Council, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, sorry, British Commission just now, saying that we are willing to partner up with some of our programs. And that is actually the opportunity for us to partner up with it needs to be matched anyway, in terms of developing the courses. Meaning to say, industry is coming to check on us, and all of you, Unit 10 faculty members, are going to be having the opportunity to co-develop micro-credential courses with them as according to the needs of the industry. Aren't we not supplying our graduates for the industry? So they must be capable to be, to give them somewhat like a value added, competencies, and not necessarily we are going to just holding on to this full-fledged program anymore, because it takes like 3 years to complete. If compared to this one, it's a shorter time for us to complete this particular program. So if we design it carefully, then it can be just one good opportunity for us to move again. So this is the plan for Unit 10, and I already shared with you what are the scenarios. Basically, just to conclude, right? The micro credentials, we have two types. One would be unbundled, coming from our accredited program, and the other one is to fill in the competency gap. So coming from there, the one which is not associated with the unbundled program must go through what we call as the Quality Verification Center at an amount of fee. Okay, so that is expensive. So we need to do a careful market survey. We want to start a course diverting from the accredited program. So that is also very interesting for us to venture into. Okay, so we still have 5 minutes, so I'm going to return. Should you have any questions, I'm seeing that there's a chat there, maybe. Okay. Okay, so lucky. So feel free to look into the documents already posted here in the chat. So please fill in your attendance and fill in your evaluation form. So please recommend sorry, please suggest anything that you like us to talk about. And in moving forward, especially when the higher education blueprint has been launched, and what is it that we can do to ensure that we can move Unit 10 forward. So this is pretty much the sharing that I can have this afternoon. So there'll be more, maybe because today is going to be the webinar, essential for you to attend tomorrow's webinar. I would like to promote Prof. Hanim's webinar, whereby we have industry-related insights to our micro-credentials. So tomorrow, I believe it's at 10 a.m. So please have a look, please join. So this one is the entrance to understand further of what the industry really want us to do. So thank you very, very much. If there's no more questions, so I'll see you again maybe after Raya, right? And to talk more on a different topic. So I hope it's very beneficial for you to understand, and this will help you understand further to develop or inspire you further. If you feel that you want to go for the teaching track, that you need to have to produce a micro-credential course worth 1 hour. So that is something that I can share. So thank you very much. Okay. So there's a crowd here. Dr. Chua. Hi, how are you?
Hi, doctor. Very
Hi.
nice.